Hello there, and welcome to revisions for the user interface for our orientation augmented reality application project. These are changes that have been suggested by some of the research team and based on some observations by using the application over the past couple of months. I'm going to go through some of the things that I've seen so far using the app, some basic design principles that we'd like to use, and then some basically overall layouts and menu functions and user interface ideas that we have for the next version of the application. Application logos have been changed very slightly, but they have the logo here on the left and the logo and the icon. We're still working on some ideas for the app icon, and this is one of them. Another idea is to use cards. Still haven't come down on one just quite yet. So currently we have the display. This is a screenshot from the app. We have the hexagonal kind of like target lock thing and 4 buttons on either side, right? And the top turns on and off a informational readout, and the bottom buttons turn on and off a menu to manipulate the augmented materials. So here it is on the top. You can turn that on and off. You get the card number, resolution, URL. The bottom number, we have the buttons to raise, lower, and slope, pull out the information from the cards. And when you want to load, when you hit this button here, load, this is when we go out to the web and grab the information from the spreadsheet and list that. And right now it's listing all of the projects in the spreadsheet in order, looks like in order of which they're listed in the spreadsheet. And here's what it looks like when a card is being augmented. So now that's out of slope, and the website, my personal website, Hawkinson.com, is being displayed over that card. One of those cards. There's now 2 versions of the cards. One of them is a smaller, called a tarot card set. It's about this big, and another is a jumbo card set, which is about this thick. And we also have poster-sized versions of these for outdoor tourism and sort of like outdoor gaming events. So these are the cards that we're using there. Now for the splash screen, there's 2 ideas that we have, and they're both based on the concept where we would like to change all of the users to automatically move their phone to landscape mode. So we want that splash screen to either be just the logo on the bottom, which hopefully will orient it, or we have a short video that we can display at the beginning that lasts about 3 to 5 seconds. I can speed it up a little bit, but one time through is okay. I think it's about 3 seconds. And I think this might be actually a little bit better if it loads quickly to help get the user to move their phone on its side. Because that's going to be important, because the whole app is basically using that the phone in landscape mode. Okay, so let's talk about how we'd like to change the display for the new version of the app. So the color scheme for the menus and the interface is coming from the logo. So all the colors being used are listed here. There's like a magenta purple. There's a very blue, the most bluest you can get of blue, and an off gray. And of course white and black is also being used. So Please use these colors for the app. We're also going to be using these colors on the website to match as well. So scanning screen, as we're looking to scan, before we had the kind of like the crosshairs, but it's been suggested, and I think it's a great suggestion, so instead of a crosshairs, actually put up a semi-transparent picture of a card. So it says look for a card. So this does three things. It does one, it tells the user that they need to find a card to scan. Nothing's been loaded yet. It does also say what the cards look like, so they have an idea of what to look for. And also, I've noticed a lot of users have a hard time knowing what the distance is and how to get a full card into the screen. Some users, they try to get in close to the cards, something like this. Some users are too far away, and this gives them sort of like a targeting screen to kind of match what's on the semi-transparent screen. This is at 50% transparency. It's got scan a card and transparency right above that too. So, and we've also added the logo here on the bottom. So notice there's no buttons here anymore too. That's also to streamline the process, right? It's just a tap anywhere. So while you're scanning, if you tap the screen anywhere, the next menu will appear. And I put all of these, we're going to put all of these assets on our Google Drive. So the semi-transparency, there's about a little less than 1/3 on each side. So that's fills up close to that, the about half the screen in the middle there, maybe half, yeah. So maybe quarter on each side is open for the menus. So if you tap the screen at any time during scanning mode, when you haven't found a card yet, you're going to be shown two side menus coming in from each side. If it's animated, that's great. Doesn't have to be. And on the left side, it says current project on the top there, up here, and then a category thumb, the thumbnail from which the category from this project is listed. It'll list the category name. Oops, sorry. The category and list the description. And if that's too long, I think maybe that unnecessary to have sort of a scrolling function here on that description, so you can see it all. And on the other side, 3 buttons: reload, load new, and exit application. Very, very simple, right? So now, if you just tap the middle of the screen anywhere, we want to be able to exit and go right back into scanning mode. So tap once, you get a readout. This is the new kind of like a menu. So now it's just tap anywhere. You don't have to tap those circles, right? I think that's a lot more simple. And go back and forth, scan and menu. So you have something loaded. We have a default, which should can be the first thing in our first project. It's listed in the spreadsheet, which is the automatic one that should be loaded. And if possible, in the maybe not this version, but we should have that first version hard-coded into the application. As soon as we get that set. We haven't got that set yet. So now, loading menu. So from here, we can load a new project. And right now we've got a list of all the projects that are listed in alphabetical order, right? So now we're just going to add a few things to that menu. It's not a lot of changes here except for some filtered options. So on the top here, you can just type in sort of search options. So project name. So if you know the project name, you could search for it very easily, right? Keywords, if you can connect keywords too with that. I think we haven't quite decided on how all those search functions should happen, but I think just if you know this just makes it easier if you know the name of it. You can go ahead in here and enter it in and filter these project names. Now, if you these three buttons on the side here to help you switch between. So one of them is keywords and categories. Those are all sections in the form from which to enter projects. And categories is just a list of all the categories and their names. So if you went to categories and you clicked on a category, basically it would just list all of the projects in that category, just like it was presenting all of them. It's like a filter basically for those categories. Same thing with keywords. So if you hit keywords, just have a list of buttons with all of the keywords in alphabetical order, and if they hit the keyword, it will list all the projects with that keyword. So not a lot of changes are there, just a couple of additions basically with the loading menu. So after you got one loaded, you go back to the scanning screen. Scanning screen being this guy here, right? The scanning screen. Okay. So you're scanning. You haven't found a card yet. You loaded a project. You go back to scanning. You're scanning, and then you find a card. Still, we have the when the card is found, the transparent card disappears. So you can get a look at the actual augmentation there. As far as loading times and buffering, we've already kind of discussed what's best there. I'm going to have to leave that up to technical experts with that, which is best. Of course, as far as users go, the quicker they see something pop up, the better, because at least they know something's loading. So a blank screen at first might be good. The logo is still there, and now we've taken kind of some options away to help rearrange and display and manipulate the overlay that's on top of the cards. So now we have two scrolls that you can use your thumbs with, and two buttons. So here's a scroll on the left, a scroll on the right. They're basically notch scrolls, so they only have like maybe 4 or 5, maybe a couple more, 4 or 5 notches on them. So on the way on the top, scroll down, 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 and then two buttons. And these buttons are exit, which means basically stop overlaying this and search for another card. And then pop out, which basically we already have this function in the app where you hit this button and you bring up this website or this embed code or this YouTube video in full screen in browser, in the app, in browser app. And if that could be browsed in landscape mode still, I think that might be better. Right, so what do these scroll guys do? So if you notice in previous versions, we had issues with resolution. So sometimes the resolution on the websites are too high, and because the screen is inside of another screen, it's very hard to manipulate that information. So we need a way to kind of help zoom into websites. We already have the function that's before where you can pinch to make the object bigger and smaller as the overlay itself. That's great. We don't want any changes to that. But the actual website itself, if we could change the way it's the resolution to which the screen it's being represented. So on the very top, it's being zoomed in. That means the resolution is very, very low. And then a couple of notches down. So we can set maybe 4 or 5 resolutions from very low to very high. So you can just notch them up and down. Just a moment. And then the position on the left is for the positioning. right? So from top, flat, raise, slap, and standing. So on the very bottom position, the there's the flat. The overlay is flat on the card. One position up, it's raised off the card. One more position higher is sloped on the card, and then the very highest position, it's standing. So then you can just manipulate how that overlay is on top of the card by just sliding this position. Yeah, popped out and scanning. I kind of switched those around. I think this way is better. Actually, I kind of switched that backwards from this one. This one's probably better because then we pop it out. Pop it out. This is positioning on the left, so pop out. Exit to scanning on the right. That's everything so far. If you have any questions about it, please contact me, and we'll get to closer to this elusive final, at least public beta. All right? Thanks.